Welcome to the show, Kevin Gleason.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
We met through Instagram around how many months ago?
I want to say
You slid in my DMs.
No. You were still with Slim Pickens at that time.
Yeah, I had a healthy meal delivery company.
Yeah,
and
at that time it was you wanted me to.
Yeah, it was such a. I don't know.
I think
it was a bad idea.
Something like that.
But we met through the idea.
I want to say it was
and then,
about like.
Yeah.
10 months ago now.
Yeah, almost a year. Yeah, so I came to your gym, gave you some meals, and then you started training me.
At the time I wasn't even at Fight Fit. I was over at I was kind of like bouncing. I was still at Sweatbox, I think. Yeah, I was still at Sweatbox. We were gonna meet there originally. I was coaching over there a little bit and then
you're at what's the MMA gym called?
I was just helping Miguel out,
yeah.
And I was going over at Rock. So at that time there really wasn't much. I was working for somebody, so it wasn't much of a business at that point.
Yeah.
I had like 0 clients. Miguel was like my only client.
And what are you up to right now? So we'll start basically where you're at now, what you're doing, and then we'll go back and see how you got there.
So now I have my own gym. It's 1,500 square feet out in Tamarack. It's a boxing. I would say it's more of like an MMA gym, but what I do is strictly being a boxing coach. So, I coach all these guys, but we run, an MMA program in the sense of majority of my clientele is MMA. I think that, South Florida is booming right now of MMA business more so than boxing. So that's where I get a lot of business from. A lot of these MMA guys, they want to learn how to box.
They don't know how to box. They're jiu-jitsu guys, they're wrestlers.
Yeah, right?
They don't have any hands.
So they come to me, So I have my own spot now. It's 1,500 square foot. We have 9 bags, treadmill, elliptical, little stuff like that. It's primarily based for fighting,
I've been there many times.
I moved though.
Yeah, I haven't been in the new
spot.
Yeah,
but I moved. Yeah.
So is your clientele mainly fighters? Is it a mix of also just women that want to get in shape? What's the balance?
I take everybody from first, to professional to amateur. The way I started was, like I said, I started out with basically I was still kind of wanting to compete. I was about 24, 25. I had taken a long time off. I went to this gym and I was training with the owner of the gym at the time, this guy named Scott. And he basically asked me if I'd hold mitts for him. He'd pay me $20. That's really how it took off. I started holding mitts and I made a little bit of money. From there, I met this kid who was training at the gym. His name was Landon. And he asked me to train him as well. So I started training him, and then I met Miguel from there. And then I took off, and I was training them for free.
Oh, really?
I left that guy, Scott. He was upset that I was training this guy, and, we wound up clashing heads. I went out and started kind of just training these two wherever I could, at their gyms, any Matchbot gyms, gym owners that I knew that would let me pay the $25 gym fees. And it was all out of my own pocket at that time. Driving to gyms. These guys had no money.
You're generous, man.
Yeah.
Trust me.
You know what though? That was my. I always say like trust the process because I always had a feeling it was going to take off. It was just about kind of figuring out how to do it and how to go about it the right way.
You've been boxing since you were what age?
I started boxing when I was 13 at the Pines Pal, and from there, I was on and off with the sport. I had a great time with it. I picked up other sports. You get involved in, girls, hanging out with your friends through high school. So I was always on and off. And I want to say by the time I was about 21 when I really started deciding, like, hey, I want to do it again, started doing it again. And like I said, I was about 24, 25, and in the gym, wanted to still compete. And that guy just basically, it really was like dumb luck in that sense. He's like, hey, man, I'm going to pay you $20 to hold mitts. I'm like, 20 minutes for $20, let's do it.
Yeah.
And at the time it was good side money, and from there it just kind of took off, and now here I am with my own gym.
And how many fights did you have in total? Amateur?
I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, probably anywhere from like 30 to 35.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Damn. Amateur fights, as a kid growing up. So, yeah, man, I had fun with it as that, and I knew the sport. I loved the sport. I always loved it and watched it.
But why did you start? Was it because of self-defense reasons, or did you just want to try something different?
No, as a kid, I grew up with 2 older brothers. I wanted to be, as tough as them, and it was kind of, I always had a competitive side in me, and boxing was something that just caught my interest. At first I thought like, oh, I'm just gonna do this for a little bit as another sport, see what happens, and from there it just kind of took a world of its own. I enjoy the one-on-one. Me versus somebody else kind of thing, rather than having a team sport.
Exactly, because whether you win or lose, it all is your fault.
It's your fault.
Good or bad.
Yeah, it's your fault. I mean, these days people like to blame everybody else or coaches their team, but it's you and that person, and I don't think there's anything more competitive than that right there.
And especially because there's no face guard, there's no shield.
100%.
People can see your face with your either your hand raised or you on the floor.
It's probably one of the most intense, one-on-one interactions you could have with another human being.
And that's the thing. You only fight. Like, let's say you fight every 4 months. You're pretty active, right? That's 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Let's say you lose today. You have to wait another 3 to 4 months.
As a professional or as an amateur, absolutely. I mean, when you're an amateur boxer, you're fighting. Most times weekends, you fight once every week. You could fight at a tournament 3 times, back to back kind of deal. So I mean, I came up in the amateur boxing system, so it was a little bit different from when I made the transition to coaching guys who were
MMA focused.
And I fell in love with MMA because I enjoyed the art of it, the discipline. The camaraderie was a little bit different than being in a boxing gym. I mean, in boxing gyms,
it's definitely different.
In boxing gyms, it is
individual,
everybody for themselves kind of thing, and that you get that. In MMA, it's a little bit more of a team sport.
That's the thing, because you could have 5 guys. This guy is the best jiu-jitsu guy, and then this guy's the best wrestler. This guy's the best boxer, best kickboxer, best Muay Thai. So they all have to learn from each other in different aspects. So they can't be
100%.
rude and they can't be douches. And let's say I'm boxing this guy and I'm obviously a lot better, and I try to go hard at him, then he's gonna probably be a dick to me when we're
his discipline.
Exactly.
There's so many different disciplines, and I fell in love with that part of it. And I just from there, I think it just took it literally swept me off my feet. I mean, this was a way. I started Stay Ready Athletics in 2014, and like I said, it was just myself, Miguel Beza, and Landon. As Miguel, both myself and him, I feel like as a coach and a fighter, we progressed together, because he was an amateur when I first met him, and he won all of his fights by knockout with his hands usually. I mean, his first fight, he actually kicked somebody and dropped him with a kick, but from there he started knocking guys out with his hands.
Finishers were mostly boxing based.
They were all 4 of them were boxing wise, and he hasn't been out of the second round. And then I think that elevated me as a coach. People saw that he was working with me. We were working together. They enjoyed the bond that we had. We're not only is he a fighter of mine, but I made that mistake and became one of his best friends. And you should never do that. They always say don't fall in love with your fighters.
Really? Why?
Just because it's going to be hard to coach them. Sometimes it's hard to be on top of them. They look at you as a friend rather than a coach. But with Miguel, it was a little bit special because we could always check out from the friendship and go straight into the business side of things, and get the job done that we need to. I could be hard on him and give him the feedback he needs. So
at that time you're making no money, and
at this time I was making no money. So from there, I had another guy contact me. This guy Rayon, and he's currently the best 147 pound amateur right now, or 145 pounder. I'm sorry. MMA, 145 pound amateur. In Florida. He contacted me and he kept messaging me, and at the time I started working at Fitness Through MMA, which was like a fitness, MMA circuit thing.
Hybrid,
it was, it was a small little gym out in Hallandale, and I was just, running, it was mostly moms and women and, people that just want to get in shape. And he kept messaging me, and finally I had him come to the gym and we started working, and that's where I really think that the business Stay Ready Athletics really took off from there, because then I realized all right, well, I can make a little bit of money from that. I wasn't charging a ton, but I was making a little bit of side money with Fitness Through MMA. Ray, Landon, and Miguel, when they had the money to pay, started building up a little. So from there, I started coaching at Sweatbox, and working with boxers, amateur boxers, and doing my side privates at the tennis courts by my house. I'd have all my, the 3 or 4 clients that I had. And I just started pushing myself on social media. And I really wanted to do my own thing. I always knew I kind of always wanted to be my own coach, my own program, my own system, and build my own culture, because I saw what other gyms were doing, and some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. And it's hard to tell somebody, hey, why don't we try this different when they own the gym and they're the head coach. So I took a huge chance, and I went out. I had, I think, 3 paying clients. And I went to a Fight Fit, and Craig, who was an amazing guy, the owner of Fight Fit, he kind of just gave me a chance. He charged me little money, a lot less than a lot of other personal trainers would ask to be charged. And I went in there, and then, my business boomed. I went from 3 paying clients to I have a book of about 20 plus clients.
Really? You know? 20 plus?
I have about 20 plus clients right now, and about 8 active fighters. I have the 2 best 145 pounders in Florida right now, ranked amateurs. In my opinion, I got the best 170 pounder in the world. But
who's that, Miguel?
Miguel, yeah, that's, you know, time being. So it just all took off, man, and from there, I just built a culture. I built the culture that I really wanted. You know,
I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen is that everybody that meets you, they get involved, and they get involved really deep with the whole other people of the community.
Yeah.
And like with other coaches, it might be like, hey, how's it going? Like if somebody just finished a session with you, I might walk by and be like, hey, what's up? But that's it. But with you, all of your clients know each other, and you set up outings with everything like that. So it's really unique.
I wanted people to associate with my culture. That was something that was big with me with being a trainer and a coach is, you know, I had a coach one time tell me, a head coach, he said, you know, your fighters will never respect you because of how close you got to them. And I just always felt like, you know what, if I have to bark at my athletes, my competitors, my fighters, whatever you want to call them, you know, me and them don't belong together because I'm not that kind of a guy. You know, I work hard at what I do, my craft. I expect them to take what I do serious, and I've never had that problem. And I always wanted to build a family environment for all of my people, you know, where I take my shirt off for them and they do the same for me. And like I said, that was something that was huge. I always remember thinking to myself, I think why the business started picking up and booming so much was, you know, people wanted to associate with the culture that I was creating more than anything. You know, people walk by, I'd be in the gym, people would walk by and they'd see how close my community was, the 2 or 3 people that I had in there. We were family, you know what I mean? A lot of my clients, I consider them family. You know, they say they love each other when they're leaving. You know, we're very close in that aspect, and that was something I really wanted to create. So that's what I think people started, you know, gravitating my way.
Definitely.
They want to associate with that culture, you know, and just building it up. So it just took off from there, man.
And with your client base, it's basically a blend of fighters who, you know, it's any coach that coaches fighters. They're not in it for the money; they're in it for the passion.
For sure.
But that's not really going to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
So you also have the other side where you train people that are just looking to get in shape.
So what I do is, you know, usually with my fighters is I'll either get paid for when they fight. So I mean, I'm training them for 2 months when they're not paying anything, you know, and it's the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. I get paid a little bit, and you know, my fitness people, you know, the fitness individuals want to get a good workout in and stuff like that. But I think that always mixes well. You know, they love to come in and be in a gym where there's somebody training for a fight. I mean, I'm lucky and fortunate enough, like I said, I have about 8 to 9 fighters, and then I have people that kind of come and go and come to me for certain work that aren't my direct fighters. They're just coming and I'm kind of being contracted out, I guess you can say. But people love to be in that environment, you know, and I think sometimes they get this idea that, you know, fighters are, you know, bad people or ugly people or jerks, or I'm not going to curse on your podcast, but and then they get in there and they realize, you know, my fighters and the competitors that train with me, they're good people, you know, and they want to. Again, I would never have somebody in my gym training with me that couldn't, again, associate with my culture and my beliefs.
Definitely.
So, you know, that was something I want to mix, and I think it was. I met this guy Jeremiah, who's a trainer out in New York. I trained him one time. He came down here, and I sat down. I talked to him, and that conversation changed my whole outlook on training. At the time, I was just training fighters. I was making, you know, maybe $125 a week, you know. And he told me, he's like, bridge that gap, man. You know, bring them both in, the fitness and the fighters. And from there, I mean, it changed my world, and my business just boomed from there. It took off. It changed the whole dynamic right there. I think that I always tell him, like, I owe him for that, because that small conversation, it's so crazy how, I mean, that small interaction, we met, we hung out for like 2 hours, we trained together. It changed everything for Stay Ready Athletics and myself.
Definitely. I've always thought that you were an interesting case because it seemed like you were choosing passion over profit, which 95% of people, and you've told me this, most people would just choose the money over dealing with people that they want to deal with. Like you even said, how much you charge me, like let's say $50 an hour. You could be charging people $100, but it's like, do you really want to spend time with them? Do you really want to hang out with them consistently?
Exactly.
So it's choosing passion over profit.
We talk about that, you know, every time we're in the gym. I mean, that's something that's huge for me, man. I do what I love, and sometimes that could be a fault because, you know what, I'm in that gym. I work a full-time job as well. I have a full-time career, and I'm in that gym sometimes till 10, 11 o'clock.
And in the morning before work.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, so what I do, my hours is usually I go into the gym at 6:30. I go from 6:30 to about 8:30, go home, shower, go to work from 9:30 to 6, go to the gym, and I'm in the gym from 6 o'clock, or 6:30, I'm sorry,
Man.
to sometimes 11 o'clock, you know. But I always tell people, and you know what, you have to be careful not to get burned out of what you're doing. But I always tell people, if you love what you do, you'll do it all day. And you know what? For years, I did it for free. So I make a pretty good living because I have such a big book. And people have bought into my system, and I take the shirt off my back. And I always said that was the most important. People could feel if you're real or not.
If you're genuine, definitely.
Exactly. And, you know, if you're in it for the money or not. I want to touch every person that comes in that gym and make them feel like they got, you know, the proper work, that I cared about what they were doing. I have, you know, specific game plans for everybody, and it's a lot sometimes, but you know what, when you're doing what you love, it's worth it, rather than, hey, I'm making tons of money, you know, and I don't really care about
you really don't
so
care.
much.
Yeah.
You know, that's the wrong way of doing business, in my opinion. At least what I do, you know, I care about what I do. I love the people that I'm around. I've had people that want to pay more money that I just didn't enjoy being around, and I didn't think it was good work, and you know, I had to shut them down, you know.
Damn, that's interesting. Yeah, right when I started working with you, I think it was like actually starting to train with you. I think it was maybe 6 months ago, 7 or 8 months ago. I felt that. I felt the community. I felt like you're genuine. We had good conversations, and you tailored each workout specifically to me. It wasn't a cookie cutter type of thing where every client does the same exact thing. Like, you could see that you really cared. That's what kept me coming back. Sure. That customer experience.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, it's the dialogue you have with people. I always say it's obviously you want to have a great product, right? So I always say it's product and it's people rather than anything else. So I want to make sure that not only am I giving you great work with what I do, but you're also having dialogue with me. We talk, we're friends. Whether that's unorthodox to some people or not, it's the only way I know how to do business. I mean, everybody that I train is a friend of mine. You know, we talk, we go out, you know, just like you said, we have outings and stuff like that. We go out to eat, drinks, whatever it is. You know, that's crazy important to me, because I would be in gyms and I used to think to myself, like, that's an important part of your business. You don't want to just go to the gym. I don't run a big LA Fitness or something like that. Like, I run a small business, and I think
all
that's
personal,
important, and it has to be personal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, I couldn't do it. I really feel that way because I dedicate so much time into that, you know, and I care about the people that I'm working with.
Definitely. And then what's the next step for the gym? Because you upgraded from a smaller space to a bigger space in the recent, you know, maybe 4 or 6 week period, right?
Yeah, I think I would like the gym to grow a little bit. Right now, what I do is basically one-on-ones, and I have a fight team. I have about 8 guys, and I'm constantly working with, you know, different guys. I have 3 guys fighting in September 22nd, which is the biggest card for combat nights.
I'm getting my tickets today.
There you go, man. You got to get them. I have Rob, Chris, and Danny Colazzo fighting. So I have to tailor all those game plans. It's, you know, it's tough to get everybody in the gym at the same time. The space. I think the next big plan is to build a bigger spot. That way I could get all those people in at the same time. Because what I'm trying to do is build up my classes. I have a fight class where I teach my fighters twice a week. On Mondays and Wednesdays they come in, and it's strictly for the pros and the amateurs. But I like to build up, you know, level 1 classes where, you know, the beginner can come in and they can take a class, and that builds the community as well. You know, if they're constantly working, me and you don't know each other, we meet each other in the gym, we become friends. It builds a camaraderie, it builds a community, and I think as a whole for a business it's important. So right now my goal is to start building up more of my class base.
That's really how you're going to scale.
Exactly.
Because unless you can multiply Kevin times 10,
absolutely.
you're really not going to.
Yeah, I'm dying over here. You know, I'm getting burnt out. So
dude, you work from 6,
and it's all
6:30, and then
you know, it's all one-on-one work.
Personal.
So it's a little bit easier when you're directing a class, you know, rather than being hands-on with that guy and doing everything else, because my body's taking a beating, especially in boxing. So that's the next goal, I think, to build up my programming as far as the classes go, rather than just the pros and the amateurs. I want to build up, you know, level 1, level 2, and you know, that's how anybody starts. Any beginner becomes a pro. They have to start somewhere. So that is definitely a program that I'm trying to build up, as well as my fitness classes. I'm starting this book a bag class. Like I said, I have 9 bags, so I you know, I've been successful. I started running it 3 weeks now. This is the third week I've been doing it. I've been completely booked up, and I want to build that up as well with the culture there. You know, that way everybody gets a little work.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just for fighters.
Mm-hmm. And with the fighter side, do you think you're going to continue to train them as your business expands and as your time gets more valuable? Because, you know, you're a passionate guy and you want to love what you do, but if your business has the ability to grow and expand, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on the bottom line, the numbers, the profit, but then you're not going to have as much time to be with your fighters.
Because I have a great career, and I always juggle this idea. I've been close to walking away from what I do and just coaching full time. And I don't, when I really think about it, I don't think I ever will do that because I love my job. I've worked at my career for the last 11 years now to get where I'm at in my position. So I want to stay where I'm at. You know, I enjoy having eight to 10 fighters because you're always in a camp, you're always working, and that can be a lot sometimes. You know, it beats on my personal life. But I think I need that to be as successful in the fitness world because, you know, great, you're aiming for somebody that wants to lose weight, and that's their fitness goal. Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, and you're working at that goal with them, and that's great. But I'm a game planner. I've come from a fighting background. I want to be able to be in that field of fighting, you know, always, and that's, I think that the fighting comes first before the fitness side for me.
Interesting.
And it always will for that aspect, you know.
So whether passion over profit.
And exactly, it's always for me. I want to do passion over profit. You know, that's always something that's big. I know me and you have talked about it. I love what I do. I'll take, you know, I keep saying I take the shirt off my back. There's a lot of money that I put in that I never get back. You know,
I was thinking about it because you started training amateur fighters, which they don't get paid anything, do they?
They
pay to fight.
Yeah,
they pay to fight
a lot of times. You know, they're paying for their medicals. They're paying. It's coming out of their pocket. So I want to give them what they deserve. And if you give me 100%, that's as good as giving me a paycheck. You know what I mean? If you're coming in and you're working hard.
That's unique.
Exactly.
It's very
and
unique.
You know what? When they win, it's the best feeling in the world. And there's also profit there. You know what? When one of my fighters wins, that their name's on my name's on them. You know, they represent me, and that builds my business. I mean, every time I say this all the time, I have clients that are professional fighters that can't pay me until they're done fighting. And when they do pay me, it's $200. It's nowhere near worth the work that we put
hours,
in.
yeah.
Because I'm calling sparring partners to come in for these guys. I'm in that gym. I'm not getting paid. I'm in there for 3-4 hours for sparring sessions, working with them. It's not nowhere near that. But you know what? When they win, it's worth that. And majority of the business I do is through social media. So if they see that on social media, hey, this guy's winning, I always get messages.
Exactly.
You know, from that.
It builds your brand.
Exactly. It builds my brand. So it's worth it in the end. And a part of me is winning as well. You know, sometimes it feels like a part of me is still in there fighting. You know, when they're winning, especially if they're doing something that we worked on and they finally hit it. You know, there's nothing better than that. There's no paycheck that can amount to that. You know, it's a passion thing for me, 100%.
I love that, man. It's ideally you would think most people would have that same thought process, but in reality, most people, they would choose the profit so they can go to fancy hotels, fancy vacations, fancy cars, fancy houses. But honestly, I think most people.
There's a side to it though, Alex. You got to deal with that, dude. I mean, I get people. The one thing I will not do is conduct business with somebody that messages me for the first time, whether it's text messages from another client that they heard about or
let me guess.
They DM me.
And they ask for a discount.
And Hey, and let me tell you something. I mean, you know my prices. I'm extremely fair.
Not bad at all.
I'm extremely fair. So when I get that message, immediately I just say, hey, listen, you know what? There's this gym down the street. There's that gym down the street, and it's this isn't the thing for you because if you're already messaging me, but you know what, you go on their social media or something like that.
It looks like they're balling.
And it looks like they're having a great time. You know what I mean? They have a great, nice car, nice place, whatever it is. It's come on, man. You know, I put a lot of work into what I've done. I feel like I've mastered what my craft is, and I'm not asking for a lot of money. So if that's the first thing,
you're not. Trust me, you're not getting paid your value. I'll tell you that right now.
Said, hey, listen, I can't make it this week for whatever reason, and like I said, I'm close to all my clients, so I can understand where they're coming from. If that's the case, then hey, I got you. You know, I take care of you. You know, but if you're messaging me for the first time, you're already asking me for a discount.
That's your introduction, first impression.
Hey, you want to know my rates, and then I tell you my rates, which are crazy affordable.
Crazy.
Sometimes what I'll do is, I mean, there's been people where I've sent them other people's privates, their rates, and then I send them mine, and it's you let me know what you think. You know, so there's always that toss up between business. You know, you have to weigh it out. You know, what's important and what's not. You know, but I've always, like I said, it's always for me been about the passion, building the culture, building a family environment. I love when I look around, especially now looking at my own gym, and I can see the family that I've created. These guys care about each other. That were total strangers, you know, total strangers. And
I see videos on Instagram. There's like 15 guys in the gym at one time, sparring,
and a lot of these guys are in the same weight class. You know what I mean? There could be case.
They're all like 145, 155, 170.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, there could be the case that they would have to fight each other at some point, but we've created that where that'll never happen. At least in my gym.
Never say never.
I mean, unless they offer a ton of money,
what I'm saying.
I don't think these guys are going to fight each other. You know, locally. Where they're
not
at
locally,
now,
no.
You know,
I mean,
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are all helping each other out. I always say in my sparring sessions and in my training sessions, my pro and amateurs, the first rule is to take care of your partner. You don't want to hurt your guy, and he doesn't want to hurt you back. You know, so that's important to me. What else you got for me? Come on, I know you got some more.
No, actually, I want to backtrack a little bit because I'm interested in, like, what are the actual costs of being an MMA fighter, amateur or pro? Like, just starting out.
Paying?
Like, how's the life of an MMA fighter? Because people might see, they might watch ESPN and they see Conor McGregor, they see Rousey, they see John Jones. They're like, wow, they're making a lot of money. They only fight twice a year. Seems like a good life.
It's rough. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I just wanted you to give a breakdown of exactly.
A perfect example. I'm not going to go too much deep into his finances, but, you know, Miguel's, in my opinion, a top guy. He's a draw. You know, well-spoken, good-looking, can fight.
How old is he?
He's undefeated. He's 26. He's undefeated. You know, he's 5-0, 5 knockouts. Like, that's a guy you want, you know, but he doesn't make a ton of money. I mean, it's, you know, they have to find, usually these guys are working night jobs, you know, doing security somewhere or whatever.
I see that a lot.
They can get by, you know, it's not a profitable. And I explained that to a lot of people when they had that conversation with me. You know, I had a friend of mine who was saying the same thing, like, you know, you're breaking your back, you're in that gym, and that's an hour that you're not taking money that you're training that person, you know, but this is my craft, and I got into this. If I could do this for free some way or another and make a living, I would have. I started from free. I love what I do.
So you're not in it to build a huge gym and get franchises?
I'm not trying to build the next big franchise gym. That's never been a goal of mine. I do enjoy it. I've recently got into these fitness classes, these book a bag classes that I do. And it's a cardio boxing class, and it's majority women, just trying to get a good sweat. And that's kind of like an angle that I enjoy doing now, like going that direction, because it's something brand new to me. Yeah. You know, I always coach one-on-one, coach fighters, you know, so my demeanor's always been one way. So now having to switch that up, and these girls just want to have fun. You know, they want to get a good workout in, they want to have fun, they want to listen to music. So it's learning that, that new, I guess you could say, learning to
shift a little bit toward the business side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And enjoying that side of it. So, but there's not a lot of money in it. And I say that all the time. There's not, you know, you own a fight gym, man, you're not going to make a ton of money. You either love to do it, or, you know, people come in, I see these, you know, yuppies that come in with the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm going to own an MMA gym and we're going to kill it. And that's not the case at all, man. And I'm like, man, you're going to do terrible. You know, it's just not going to work. And what happens in a year or two, they shut down. My goal is I've started this gym. I don't know how long this is going to go for. I'm going to ride the wave until, you know, it's no longer there. I'm making a pretty good profit now. I'm keeping the gym open. I don't care if I close down in a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, whatever. I don't have the intentions of, you know, hey, man, I'm going to do this. This gym is going to be on forever. I don't know if that's the case, and I'm not worried about that either. You know, like I said, it's the passion over the profit. You know, if it doesn't work out, my mindset is if this gym, I've been in business now for myself 2 years. I've been doing great. Right now, like I said, I'm on a wave. You know, and it's all seasonal, and I've had the great ones, and you know, it's ups and downs. If the gym closes down, I'll go somewhere else, and I'll bring my business somewhere else. You know, I have a good craft. I have a good, you know, background in what I do. I've been doing it a long time. I don't think that way, and I think that's important, because when you mix that, oh man, I gotta make the ends meet. Now it becomes about that paycheck, man, and then you lose the work. And I've been there, you know, I've been burnt out where it's like, man, I gotta go to the gym. I do this all day. Yeah. You know, so it's like, oh, I gotta go to the gym, you know, and you just want to get through those sessions. And I feel bad when I get out of that gym and I go home. I'm like, man, they didn't get the best me, the best Kevin version of myself, you know. So I always have to keep that in my mind, you know, that This is about the passion over everything else, you know.
Damn, I love that though. That's gonna be kind of the theme of this podcast. Passion over profit.
Passion over profit. What do I say, man? It's got to be the product first, because you got to be good at what you do. Nobody's gonna come to you if you're not good at what you do, and then it's the people. You know, that was always my way of doing business, especially when I went in for myself. You know, like I said, I've been in all kinds of gyms since I was a kid. I saw things that I loved, things that I didn't love, and I just took from what I wanted and mixed it into my own. And it really, it's crazy. I went into this to kind of like, because I love doing it, but I wanted to make a little extra money to pay the bills and have a little extra money, and it took me by surprise. And like, there was times, I mean, if I show you my book, I've showed you a couple times. I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this. You know, people are like, man, how are you juggling all these things? But it's the ride, man. You know, it's the same thing you're doing here. It really is the ride more than anything else. And when you look back at it, you're like, man, that was a great time. Like, right now, I have 3 guys that are getting ready for their fights. So I'm juggling.
What day? September 22nd, right?
For Combat Nights. That's 3 individual game plans that I'm preparing for. Working full time. Just moved out. I'm literally in the process of moving out. So today I woke up. I had my class. I went to my house, got my stuff, started moving in, went back to the gym, came here. You know, and that's, to me, it's like, I'm gonna look back and be like, man, that was awesome.
No regrets.
That was a hell of a ride. You know, I think that's so important. It's the funness of it, and if you're doing it with love and because you love it, man, that's where the business is. The business comes, the money comes, and I always believe that, and it does. You know, because there was always like, when I went into Fight Fit, I was paying X amount of dollars, and I wasn't making that, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I always found the lane. You know, I always found the lane, and then from there, just boom, man.
Were you scared of failure?
100%. You know, at the time, I needed this money. You know, I was paying for my apartment. I needed the money. I was losing out. I was leaving this gym where I was making a set, you know, $200 a week, and I needed that money, and I was going out on my own. So I was,
with no security
salary,
and then and then you have to cover expenses now too.
Absolutely. So I was definitely fearful of failing for sure. But after
you still took the risk though.
Oh, absolutely. And then I learned that there though. You know, I was afraid to fail, but I knew I was good at what I did. So it was one of those things. It was a risk, and I look back on that, and I'm like, man, that was awesome. You know, and that gym, that Fight Fit gym, gave me everything. You know, they took care of me. You know, they backed me 100% on what I needed. You know, it was just time to open up my own thing and do things my way, and be able to operate on different hours I wasn't able to do over there. So yeah, failure is a huge part of any business. You know, there's times where you're gonna be good, and sometimes you're not. You know, and I always say, like, I had a recent L in my life. You know, where I just took a loss, and you know, my business started declining. You know, because I'm like, what am I gonna do to turn this around? You know, and
seasonal.
Exactly, it's seasonal. It's all waves. And you know what? I look back, my business is booming again. You know, I really believe somebody who is good at what they do can take that loss, sit down, and come right back. You know, and I love that stuff about this business. You know, or any business. I mean, I don't do what you do or whatever it is. You know, selling cars, selling houses, whatever it is. But if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to be able to turn things around for yourself. You know, you're not going to be able to weather that storm and turn it around. So I think that's an important part, is you always have to have that fear. I have fear right now. I'm paying for a 1,500 square foot gym. I have to be able to pay my bills and pay for that gym and make sure everybody's taken care of.
Equipment, everything.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm stretching myself. It's funny because a friend of mine said the same thing. Just, you know, I was on the phone with him while I was on my way over here, and he's like, you know, you're being taken advantage of. And I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of, you know, because I'm offering somebody something free for that moment. Because I get paid back that, you know, if I'm training this person for free and I'm helping them out for their fight. When they win that fight, man, I get my payment there, you know?
Honestly, like, it's whatever makes you happy.
100%.
That's what's most important, because what might make me happy is building a gym where, okay, even if I like MMA or I like boxing, I want to build it to where it's scalable and I can open multiple places. That's just my thought process, and that's what would make me happy personally. But if it makes you happy just to have one gym, but you love all your clients, you're not overcharging them, you have fighters that maybe underpay you, but you still love the process, then it's fine. Whatever makes you happy.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, there's times like anything else that you're tired, you don't want to do it. You know, it doesn't matter how much you love something. But once I started this, I've never questioned it and damn, what am I doing or anything like that. You know, it's a love, and if you love what you do and you're good at it, you'll be fine.
Did you ever want to stop?
Do I ever want to stop?
Did you in the past? Was it all just too much?
At times it kind of felt a little overwhelming.
Because then you have personal life and family. It can be tough to balance.
You know, exactly. It's a life balance. Sometimes you think to yourself, like, man, I got so many things going on. You know, maybe I should slow down or things like that. But it's like that saying, no boxing, no life for me. So I need that aspect to be happy in my personal life. Otherwise, I won't. So yeah, there's been times where I'm like, man, I'm getting burned out. But I believe this. I work real hard, and I make a good living with my career and this gym now. I think that everybody, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you should work hard for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. Grind, work your tail off, and then take a 4 or 5 day vacation. You know, take off, go somewhere, whatever it is that you want to do. Even if you want to lounge around the house and hang out, and you take that time off, and then you get back to it. And as long as you put that break, that's something that I found in the last 2 years. As long as you cut in those breaks, you're fine. You know, because it becomes repetitive. Sometimes it beats on your brain when you're constantly doing the same things. You know, and you're like, man, I don't. You know, I'm literally leaving that house at 6 in the morning, and I'm coming home at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. Saturday I'm in the gym from 9 in the morning till 2 o'clock, and you know, you're like, what am I doing? Sunday's off. You know, but if you give yourself that vacation, you work hard for that, and you work up to it, you know.
Then you'll come back feeling excited, ready to go.
Absolutely, you're rejuvenated.
Definitely.
You feel great. You know, it's a great feeling, and that's why I say I need that fighter aspect, because when they win their fights, it's, you know, one of the most rewarding things. Like I said, I wouldn't trade that in for money. You know, we've worked to one goal together, and you got it. It's the best feeling. It's the biggest high you could ever feel. It's the best feeling. So I think that, you know, you should have your little breaks between things. It's important. Every time one of my guys fights and they win their fight, you know, you take a little time off. I take some time off, and, you know, you come back to it when you're ready, you know, and you're focused to do it again. You know. Dope.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Where can people find you on Instagram? What's your
it's
username?
Kevin_Gleason7 on Instagram.
Awesome. Message him to give you, first of all, a discount, and then tell him to give you an extra discount.
Tell him Alex sent you.
But no, seriously, dude. Thanks for being on the podcast. I appripeciate it, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, man.